3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to episode 235 of Ruse Radio. We are back at it again with a very special guest. Please introduce yourself, sir.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Noah Guardado, and I'm a filmmaker originally from the south side of Chicago. And I'm super stoked to be talking with you today, bud.
And what have you done?
Oh, man. So recently, some of you might have heard about the film festival that I hosted at the Rumova Theater. It was on December 18th, and it was a lot of fun. Basically started off with I just made a cool short film with some friends of mine that I met throughout the year, and we decided, why don't we kind of turn this into a really big premiere. We ended up hosting over 350 creatives and are going to be donating quite a bit of the ticket proceeds to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. So we're set to also supply, I think, a little over 3,000 meals to families in need.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you get that set up? Like, just to be able to, did you just tell them you were going to do it and do it? Is it that easy?
Sort of. I did a ton of research beforehand because I knew, I felt weird just, charging people tickets to come see my movie.
Yeah.
So that's why we were like, let's bring other filmmakers on board.
Now we can see your beautiful face.
There we go. There it is. And so we were like, let's bring other filmmakers on board. Let's make this feel way more communal. And so I'm originally from Bridgeport. And so there's the Circle Foundation that's run out of the Benton House. That's a community center back home. And so I kind of contacted them, spoke with them about the logistics of what needs to be donated to be able to supply what amount. And the original goal was to supply 1,000 meals when we had the event be in the first venue at Rumova. They have two venues, the Loft and the theater. And so
really?
The Loft, yeah. So the Loft fits about 160 people. So the goal was, if we sell that many tickets, which is crazy, I did not think we were going to be able to do that, then we could, basically the way that the Greater Chicago Food Depository works is that for every $100 you donate, I think at once, then they're able to supply 300 meals.
Oh.
So then I started communicating with some folks from Benton House to confirm some things, and reached out to some reps from that charity just to confirm what we were trying to do was possible. And they were like, yep, totally. Just keep us in touch when you do it, so it can be more personal and not just you did something on the website and now it's done,
Yeah.
And so originally it was going to be, okay, we'll kind of get as much as we can to that charity after the event. And then we sold out the Loft, which isn't done very often at the Rumova Theater. And so the team was like, what do you think about upgrading this into the actual theater? No one's ever done that before.
What's the capacity for the theater?
The theater sitting technically is around 400 to 450.
Yeah, 'cause
standing
it's a big
it's
room.
12 to 1800. It expands quite a bit once you take away seating.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we had almost 400 people packed up in there, and it felt packed. It was pretty surreal.
Yeah.
So yeah, just super stoked that we got to create a space for creatives to meet, to collaborate, and to inspire one another. It truly, honestly, was. I feel weird calling my own work a success, but I'm able to look at it from a wider lens and be like, that was a truly successful night, not only creatively but definitely in terms of reestablishing also the neighborhood that I'm from, kind of showing people there were people from the suburbs there, people from way up north who showed up, people who I never would have thought came out, were there and truly loved the event.
People or just people in general?
Both. People I haven't seen in years were there. People from college. I thought that was insane, as well as people I've never met in my life. I would say the majority of people that were there I have never met.
Yeah. How many different films were shown?
We showed 6 different films.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Loose Ends was the finale. Since it's 25 minutes, but the lineup went Ring Ring first, which is a really fun quick comedy short about this best man who drops the wedding rings into a trash compactor, and he basically jumps in after them. That one actually stars Bob Odenkirk's nephew, Keenan Odenkirk.
Okay.
That was really cool. Lucas Symes and Lincoln Rogers are the two co-directors of that piece. They're really nice, really sweet. And then after that, we showed How to Live a More Whimsical Life by my friend Nathan Graber-Lipperman. He actually runs Powdered Blue. You may have heard of them. They're a really cool, creator-focused news publication here in the city. Nate has done such cool stuff. He used to work for Colin and Samir. He's interviewed Good Mythical Morning, Hank and John Green.
Oh, wow.
Like Nate, like is just like finger to the pulse, and he's such a down to earth guy. He even like was so gracious to let us host our like post holiday party at their studio in Pilsen, which was just really, really cool. And then after that, we showed Coexist, which was one of my favorites, by Angie Panjaniban. It's basically a fully illustrated short film about this like trans LGBTQ couple and their journey and kind of like self-discovery. And it's truly beautiful. It's a true story. And I knew we had to throw that in there before the intermission because I was hoping that people would be crying, and like there were audible like you could hear people just like they couldn't keep it in, and I thought that was a big win for the night. Just
nice.
like yeah. And then following that, we showed Juicetopia by Jack Elliott, which is a very fever dreamy Adult Swim inspired sort of animation about these like two juice box characters who like go get burgers, but like everyone's vomiting on the burgers. Like it's really gross and weird, but I love weird stuff. So I knew like we had to have like a surprise in there for the audience. And then we showed Jerry Gonzalez's film, Hamster in My Head, which is truly hilarious film. Jerry's so good. He has so much experience under his belt, and it shows in his work, and so I had a feeling that was going to be a crowd favorite, and it definitely was, which was really exciting because I totally look up to Jerry. And just his piece in general is just such a ride. If you haven't seen it, he's definitely trying to get it into festivals here in the city and like in the Midwest. I highly suggest anyone go check that out. And then we wrapped up the night with my film Loose Ends.
Yeah. And it went electric. Everything went better than expected.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the weird thing with making a film is what you're going for,
right.
and where the punchlines are and like where the important moments are. But at least for me, like I really don't want to spoon feed the audience, and I know some people have different opinions on that. Like some people are like, the audience is stupid, you gotta like lay everything out for them, but I also feel like I like to reward the audience for paying attention. You know what I mean? And so I was really, really relieved, actually. I'm not really worried about like spoilers or anything.
Okay.
But there was like, in my opinion, the very first joke in my film is in that first scene when we kind of reveal that my character has tied someone up, basically. And he's like, what's going on? He's like, gee, is that you? And my character's like, we're having a conversation here. Give me a second. And that was intended to be funny. I like the Sopranos dark humor sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, in the context is you're talking about a dream with your friend.
Right. Yeah.
It just sounds like you're talking to somebody in a backyard.
Exactly. And then we kind of like reveal that there's more to this like dynamic going on for sure. And that moment got a laugh, and it was like, a big weight came off my shoulders because I realized like, oh, the audience is here with us too.
And you're not sure if it's going to communicate until it does.
Exactly. That to me is the biggest fear. I think especially when you're trying to do like dark comedy is like giving the audience or like helping them understand when they're in a space where they're allowed to laugh at things.
Right.
And that's what's exciting is because then you don't want things to read as like corny because you're like trying to be serious, and then they're like, am I supposed to laugh at that? But truly, like all of the marks that we were trying to hit really resonated with the audience. And I think that's the best way to kind of like understand if your film was successful or not, and you like appealing to your vision was like, did the audience enjoy it? Did they feel like they really went through an experience and like that they were satisfied? And it felt that way. And I
like the emotional beats translate, like not just laughter, but like, say something's supposed to be a surprise. Like they should look surprised.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's funny. Maybe we're thinking about the same moment when Chad comes up and, Yeah. I don't want to. I guess we won't say too much, but there are some fun surprises in it, and that was a moment for sure. I had to turn around and look. So I was like, I need to see if people respond to this, and like, the room was electric during that moment. Actually, I was really stoked about that. I was like, wow, like people really are here in the story,
Yeah.
Or even like when the big bad character says like, I don't work with pigs, I eat them. There was like an audible like reaction to that. I don't really know how to explain it. It wasn't like a groan. It was like a whoo, So it's like, whoa, like this is cool, like it's just crazy when you think like a year ago almost when I was writing it, just like me and my girlfriend just like laughing about certain things and like, oh, like what if this happened, and oh, like this character should do this, and you get rid of certain ideas, you bring some back, and then it's just all on a page for so long, and then you finally film it, you edit it, you're staring at it for months, and at least for me, I start to learn to hate my work if I'm looking at it for too long. So I have to step away for a while. And so I think this was also just like a big stroke of vulnerability for me. I'm just being like, you know what, like...
Because you've spent so much time on it?
Because I spent so much time on it, because I feel like stylistically it's so much of like what I want to be doing. And I had never really done like this sort of genre before, but it is like my favorite sort of like...
What were you doing before?
I guess more so before this one, I did like a cool like sci-fi mystery last year called Nova. That was really fun. My foundation in filmmaking is definitely through visual effects. That's something I've kind of put on
kind of like Jerry
back burner. 100%. That's actually funny that I feel like I didn't even know that about Jerry until I got to meet
he's
him
all
more.
about puppets. That guy.
Yeah, he's more into like the physical practical stuff. I think he also uses Blender as well.
Jerry and Noah. What do both of these two men have in common? Well, besides the fact that they're both fantastic filmmakers in their own right, they've both been featured on Ruse Radio. Ruse Radio, what is that? That's the show you're watching. And if you enjoy the show, you like this show, you like seeing what's happening on the screen, you like me bringing in these fantastically talented people with so much to say, then what you must do is keep this train a-rolling with Patreon. $5 a month, the price of a coffee, the price of a beer at the bar, and you have the joy and satisfaction of making this show grow, making this show bigger and better than it's ever been. I'm barely paying my rent, but I'm giving you an episode every 3 days, and you could solve one of those problems. And the way you do that is Patreon, all right? You go ahead and you pump some money into this system, and you make this system electrified. It's amazing the skills, the power that you have. If you go on that Patreon, you have exclusive music you're not going to hear anywhere else. You get to hear my songs early, and you get exclusive podcast content and more. You get all kinds of stuff from that Patreon, and it's your name on this screen at the end of every single podcast. All these perks for the great thing that is just knowing you are making my heart beat stronger. I'm like the Grinch at the end when his heart grows. That's what Patreon can do. It can make my heart expand in a good way. Now let's get back to Noah's VFX origins.
But since I was a kid, I was a very big fan of Corridor Crew, Corridor Digital.
Yep.
Those were like
those
the
guys
guys
are
for
awesome.
me. Yeah, they're fantastic. They're so creative, and I think they'll be doing it forever. Like they have been at this point. And so ever since I was a kid, I was like, that's what I want to do. I love video games, like I love film, and I love YouTube. And I think that's what's interesting about the industry right now, and about like creatively where I feel like not only I am, but like all of my contemporaries are. We all want to make films, and like we all love like the idea of like the glamour of Hollywood and like the fun that must be. And just like also like the cool like opportunities that come with like big budget films and be able to do like really cool crazy
but all that
stuff.
stuff has strings attached.
Oh my goodness, there's so much red tape. The more money, and like this is a harsh lesson that I've had to learn this year, being on more film sets and stuff like that, more than ever, is like the more money you add to a project, the slower things take.
Right.
And honestly, I don't want to say the less fun they feel, because at the end of the day, you're still making something with people that like you like admire and like respect, and that's the coolest thing about making movies and about being a creative. But
it's like responsibility, at
that
point.
And the magic is taken out a little bit when everyone is just so stressed. Everyone is so stressed when there's a bunch of money on set, and you feel that.
And movies notoriously, like Hollywood movies, are always over budget.
They're always over budgeted. They're always over the timeline, and you don't want to be the one who like messes everything up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's sort of how I see it too. And so that's what's interesting about this like new wave of filmmaking that I feel like we've just been sort of put in, is like, of course I'm gonna like submit this into festivals. Like that was like a part of the goal and why I wanted to have like a premiere event for it, so that like I'm not pocketing any of the funds from the festival. That was never the intention. It still is not. Believe me, I would like to, but but I just wanted to make sure that like this was an art first thing for me.
Yeah.
But we will be using some of the funds to submit into festivals. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, it's 25 minutes. Usually festivals are more looking for 15-minute stuff, 15-minute films. And I also feel like it might have a better life on YouTube. And I think that's the interesting thing about filmmaking nowadays. It's like, I think people are starting to make films that with the intention of being rewatched like on YouTube now. At least that's what we thought when we were making Loose Ends. It's like, I think it's great on the first watch. I think it's way better on the second watch, because then you see all these little things that I'm teasing for you in every scene. Like, that's how I intentionally wrote it. And that's why I thought it was, I was very happy with the response from it. People were like, that was so cool. How'd you do that with no money? Like, great acting all around, like all these like awesome reviews. I was like, this is really cool. And then some people were like, I didn't really get some of it, but I had fun watching it. Maybe I was confused by this. And I was like, you guys are all saying the right things. Like you know what I mean? You're all like totally valid. There were some things that we had to kind of rush, just in the nature of like, I wasn't paying anyone to be there, like they were all just doing it volunteered. And like some people on set like are actors, like they do want to do it. And I'm just so grateful that they believed in the vision. And now like we're going to be collaborators for life, but it's like a big step to be like, hey, trust me, like we're making something cool here.
Yeah.
And I'll pay you in food. I promise.
I think that's how a lot of small budget films tend to go. Is like,
100%.
How in the world can I get these people to do it? It tends to be food and drinks and like, trust me, it's going to be good. Just faith, food, drinks, and faith, I suppose.
Absolutely. And I think it helped that what people maybe not take for granted, but what they forget is such a big part of being a director is not just like telling people what to do and like being the creative force behind it. It's like being the fun person on set too.
You're the energy.
Like and I think that's why I had such a like natural approach and just had so much fun hosting the festival itself, is because directing is hosting. Like I do like to host parties, you know what I mean? Like I do like to have people come over, like, and just make sure everyone's having a good time. Like I truly do like to do that. And that is kind of what directing feels like. Like you're running the set and you're making sure everyone is good and having fun. And like people had such a good time. There was even one of those scenes we had to reshoot. And I was like, man, I never want to reshoot anything. I feel so bad doing it.
Right.
These actors haven't played their roles in a couple months. Like, but they were like, let's do it. Like, no question. And I was like, man, that's so cool, because before this year, I hadn't really worked with any other actors. Like, this was a big leap. But I still know, like, this is what I want to do. And not only like want, but like, this is like the thing that I've always been drawn back to, just
directing or
filmmaking in general. But more specifically directing. I actually wasn't supposed to act in this one. That was not the intention at all.
I thought it was funny that you were the coolest guy in the whole movie.
That's hilarious. I think it just served its purpose, because like that character Gideon, I feel like I have an acting background, but so like Alexei, who played Eli, like I'm not giving that energy to the character like Alexei could have. You know what I mean? And I think that's also like a good thing to be able to know when you're making films, is to like really be able to like have self-awareness and say like, I could pull off that role, but that one not so much.
Yeah, you kind of have to typecast yourself a little bit.
100%, and that's a weird thing to do. But I'm like proud to say, like, when I watch it, I don't feel like I'm watching myself really. Like I feel like I gave what needed to be given for the role. But truly, I was not supposed to play that role.
Was there someone else you had in mind or anything? Or?
There were a couple people, and we had auditions, but then it's like some people just were like, I can't do it.
Right.
It's just it's an availability thing, and you just have to cut your losses. And I am someone who I grew up in the service industry, and then after that, like after I graduated college, I was a producer for an advertising agency for a long time, and just something I know about myself is like I like to get my hands dirty. I will get my knees in the mud. You know what I mean? Like I will. I'm still grinding now, you know, like,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of who I am.
I think you kind of need that, especially if you're leading projects and stuff.
100%.
Somebody has to kind of set the stage for everybody else.
Yeah, someone has to
Yeah.
eat dirt so that everyone else can just like be like standing on
Yep.
on like water level.
Or they're like, oh,
basically.
he ate dirt. I guess maybe we could too.
Just a little bit. No,
Yeah.
100%. Because I think when everyone else sees like how committed you are to it, it helps them get to just where you need them to be. You
Exactly,
know?
yeah.
Like I don't need people like, you know, breaking bones and like getting super dirty and like losing sleep over everything. You know what I mean? But I do think them seeing like, holy crap, like Noah is like in costume directing, running around, setting up the stage for the scene, lighting the scene, directing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
scene. And then the next moment he's acting in a scene. Like I feel like they see that and then they're like, the least I can do is like give a really good performance. And going back to how I intentionally wasn't going to be in this, because I just wanted to only worry about directing. Like I wanted to see actors deliver my lines in ways that I can never imagine, and that truly happened. But also the reason why I played that character was because he just needed to be on set the most. So it just made sense, you know. It's like, well, if this character needs to be on set all the time, like it's me, you know. Like
Yeah.
it honestly, ironically, gave me less to worry about.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm just gonna play it, and then we'll just move on, you know. And I think also too, it was another stroke of vulnerability for me, because it was like, you've never really done this before, like let hundreds of people see you on screen and see all these other people on screen, and you know, I'm sure people probably saw it and maybe convince themselves like, oh, like Noah's always doing auditions, or he's like always acting. It's like, no, like I've really stepped away from like character acting for a long time, not on purpose, but it's so hard to do everything, you know what I
Right.
mean, all the time.
Well, and like to be in front of the camera while your brain is behind the camera is
Yeah.
something that you probably don't want to do, because that makes it so you have to kind of parse yourself out in different ways, right?
Yeah, that's the weirdest part too, is like when you're reading a line and you that's very funny that you said that, because I'm like actively remembering us filming that first scene and being so nervous because I had never acted with Alexei before, and like Alexei was one of the people that we brought on board who is an actor. I mean, he
Yeah.
is so talented, he's so natural, he's so charismatic, he just pops on screen. Like
Who did he play?
he played the main guy who like walks in on the dead body.
Okay, yeah.
The like super down on his luck guy, like
Yeah.
the like younger brother character sort of, who's just like, he's supposed to be like from the audience's perspective.
The protagonist. I would call him the protagonist.
He is, yeah. That's what's interesting about Loose Ends, actually, is that what I love about it personally is the way I wrote it was supposed to be kind of Shakespearean, where like different people watch it and they have their own protagonists whenever they watch it. So some people like take my character being like the protagonist to the story, which I'm totally fine with, because that's an understandable assumption.
I'm calling the antagonist.
That's fine too, you know. And then some people actually take my character's older brother, played by my friend Joe, the Victor character, the like
Yeah.
big guy. They see him as the protagonist, which I think is super interesting, because I think every character has like their own sort of goals in mind, almost a little
Yeah,
bit.
at least that would suggest they all have a good arc.
100%.
If
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
feels like they could follow them.
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was the goal, was like, I know there's a lot going on and we fit a lot. And that was the weird thing about Loose Ends too, is it's almost like an anti-short film, sort of.
In what way?
Because I think a lot of short films, and like, this is just due to the medium and to the nature of, they're very concise and generally not like over 20 minutes. Usually they're like in one location, maybe two,
Right,
and they'll
yeah.
follow like maybe two characters, or then there'll be like other characters in there to like sprinkle in lines, but a lot of the times it's like one or two characters.
Yeah.
Also the pacing is usually just like beat to beat to beat to beat. And I think there's a lot of value in that. I truly want to do that next time. Like the next film I want to make, I want it to be a lot more personal, a lot more real, and a lot more clear. But this one, I was like, I want to make something for that theatrical experience.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool. It's like, you definitely felt that. As soon as it starts, you know, like it starts black with just like the text on screen and the sound effects, and we kind of build ourselves. I mean, for those who haven't seen it, it's like a 3-part structure where it's like part 1, part 2, part 3. And that was sort of intentional because I wanted the audience to kind of have to practice patience just a little bit.
Yeah.
We lay that foundation in part 1. Part 2 is just fun with the party, and we're like having fun. We're getting more into the world, but then the story really starts to develop, and then part 3, everyone's goals and intentions just crash on itself, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the goal and I feel like that's just what I'm always doing. That's my own personal, I think, mission is like I'm always going against the grain, whatever it is, because I want to like challenge other artists to push the envelope.
Yeah.
And I think that adds some production value to the film. It's like when it starts, we're in the backyard of the bar, and then the next scene we're in the bar. Then the scene after that, we're in an apartment, and then after that we're at a coffee shop. There's already 4 locations, and there's been like 4 different scenes. That's very uncommon in short films.
Right.
And so I think that was like a cool novel part to it as well, that I think why people take different stories from it for sure.
Yeah, because you're moving around all over the place.
Yeah. And I think it just gives it more life a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure.
What was the idea when you started writing it? Like, what was the stem that started it all? Do you remember what it was that made you want to write it in the first place?
Oh man, that's such a good question. I feel like because I'm still like on the early end of my filmmaking career, I'm still like allowed to just be like, I want to make the sci-fi thing, I want to make the comedy thing, I want to make the romance thing, And so this was like my favorite like pieces of work are like I said, The Sopranos, like a lot of like Quentin Tarantino's work. Goodfellas, like stuff like that. David Fincher
like
stuff.
Crime drama type of thing with like strong characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do like crime drama, and I don't know why. I think it's just always kind of stylistically spoke to me.
Yeah.
I like making audiences feel a little uncomfortable, but I also like giving them that release through comedy.
Right.
I feel like, to be honest, I don't think I could ever fully write a tragedy, because I'm always gonna throw jokes in there. You know what I mean? Like I'm always gonna throw jokes in whatever I make.
Yeah.
But I think truly I was like, I wanna make that crime comedy that I've always wanted to make. I want people in suits looking cool doing badass shit. You know what I mean? Like that really was like the motivation for it. But then I was like, how do we turn this into an actual compelling story? How do we make it relatable? I guess to give some insight onto my life too. So, like I mentioned, I was a producer for that advertising agency for 4 years. And like I learned a lot about the professional world of production and, commercials and stuff like that, and met some really cool people, but I wasn't really satisfied. And so I left in February, which was around the time when I was writing the film too. And I went back to bartending and being a barista. And so I do that on the weekends. And I also do like freelance production too. So like I'm kind of like balancing both like service industry stuff to pay my rent, and then doing the like creative freelance stuff to kind of like keep my connections going and to just like make sure I'm like still like on top of my game, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think also I was like, there's so much reality that I have in this, like being a bartender, that I could write a whole film about someone kind of going through it. And that Eli character, I think, was more so written to, like kind of help anyone else connect. So like, there's all this crazy stuff going on, but we've all felt this way where we're like, man, nothing's going right.
Yeah.
Nothing's going right at all. And so I guess the inspiration for it, truly was like, how do I make my own Pulp Fiction a little bit? How do I make that story that is more enjoyable the more you watch it? And it was just an excuse to really just like get my friends on board to do something. I have to shout out CBW Media, my homies who basically helped me produce the whole thing. They're an awesome little production company here based in Chicago.
What does it stand for?
Oh man, I should know that, but I do not.
Chicago's best. Whoa.
Let's go with that. Chicago's best. Whoa.
Yeah.
No, but they're awesome. They're comprised of Jesse, Sam, and Isaiah, and they're all really good friends of mine from college.
And they help produce how? Like, what did they do?
Oh man, they just did everything that I couldn't physically do, basically.
Yeah.
So I did like all of the pre-production, all of the writing, all that stuff. I did all of the casting. But like that's not stuff that I feel like they needed to do. Like that's the stuff I feel like if you're heading the project, like you should be taking the lead of that.
Hey, could you write this for me?
Right, yeah, like come on. But so they primarily do event production for like brands and like DJs and stuff like that, you know.
Cool.
So they do such a good job of just meeting so many different people.
Yeah.
And so
they're kind of like connectors in a way.
Yeah, 100%. And so they just got me kind of involved with like Nick Adams was a really, really awesome guy to have on set. He has really good equipment, and he was like, I just want to make cool stuff, so I'll just bring my equipment for free.
Oh, wow.
And just help you. So like that first scene, the reason why it looks so good is because we filmed it on a Blackmagic 6K, and Nick is just a pro, you know. So I just tell him, we want this shot. He'd be like, let's do it. We got the shot. I'm like, this looks great. Moving on. And so CBW, their role primarily, they were basically just like the other me's on set. So like for that party scene, which this was crazy, we had over like 20 plus people on set for like extras.
Yeah.
They handled all of that. So like they got all of the extras.
Huh.
Like, and not having to worry about that was so huge, you know, because like I had to worry about the location, set dressing it, getting the actors ready, getting the actors' costumes, like making sure everyone looked how I want them to look, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
On top of like making sure, like, because I just used all of my own equipment too. Like we didn't rent any equipment. Like this was all just stuff that I had, you know. So it's a lot of like just too much mental energy going into things that like you're like, I don't need to worry about that. Or like we didn't have any like professional microphones on set either, you know. Like we had these Rode mics that I won from a film challenge. Like I look, dude, like I really cannot wait to like post, because I am gonna make like a little documentary about this, because I cannot wait for people to see like how truly low budget this thing was.
Yeah.
Because we showed it alongside my contemporaries' works, who put like, and like for the right reasons, put like thousands of dollars into their projects to create truly like well-produced pieces of work. And I think for the right reasons felt confident enough, like we made something completely on the level of like what other people are doing in the city, because we just cared so fucking much about it.
You think that's how you pulled it off? Just caring about it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm being for real. Because I would think really that stuff shows. Like when you, I don't think that the equipment is 100% what it is that makes a good movie or a good piece of art. A lot of it is like, how much are you actually trying? Because that stuff all communicates, you know, it all comes through in the final product, in my opinion.
I agree. 100%.
I mean, obviously you need to have decent equipment. You can't just bust out the camera that's 30 years old and try to make it work.
Right. Yeah, of course. There is like a line there.
Yeah.
But I think also it just kind of boiled down to over these years, I've just chalked up so much experience and knowledge about filmmaking.
Yeah. And that stuff communicates too. I mean, that's like most of what makes somebody good at their job, in my opinion. It's like why you pay somebody 1,000 instead of 100 is because of experience, not because of what they can, not the stuff they bring, but what they have in their mind.
100%. And that was cool too. I guess something also to mention about CBW's role and everything. They're holding mics, they're holding lights for me. Like they're holding so like every scene that I'm acting in, they are holding the camera.
Nice.
And I have to give major props to them because, and I say this every time because it's true, there's a weird thing where when I'm watching myself in loose ends, I'm convinced that I'm holding the camera because of how perfectly they did it. You know what I mean?
And that's a big thing to ask for somebody.
Oh my goodness, that was the biggest thing I was worried about. Was like, I just have to trust that they're gonna do this right, and they killed it. You know, I'm so grateful that when I watch it, I'm not like, oh, I wish that the framing was like this, or like I'm actually never like concerned about the framing in this film, and that's something that I'm really, really proud of. That was something I was so worried about. Was like, I'm gonna be in this so much that like, what if this doesn't look how I want it to look? And that wasn't an issue at all. But 100% down to what you were saying. I think also people take for granted pre-production quite a bit. Jesse and Sam were just so awesome. They just committed so much time. We even did pre-shoots. So we brought all of the equipment to the bar. So actually that bar, fun little fact, is my parents' bar. Which is what allowed us a lot more time to like mess with it. So we're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So we actually went there, I think 1 or 2 days, and with the Blackmagic camera, with the lights, and we set everything up with them as the actors, so that once we got there on set, we were like, we've already done it.
Yeah.
And it helped a lot. One of the scenes I'm the most proud of visually, which is like kind of like a random scene, if you remember, is the interview scene, which is like just like one of my favorite like written scenes too. It's just super awkward, you know.
Yeah.
Where he's like, if you see my customer experience, to me, that scene looks the best. Like every time I just see Alexei and Joe like talking in that scene, I'm like, this could be on Netflix, like, because we lit it perfectly. Like I can remember, like we had our softbox, we have edge lights, like we have like a perfect 3-point lighting setup on top of like overhead lights. Like it could have been a studio lighting setup, and I had never accomplished that before.
Yeah.
But
And that was due to pre-production?
100%, because we filmed it. We even, man, we went ham on this now that I'm remembering, because we even, and I wish I brought this for you so you could see it, but we got these shots, you know, so I'm like recording Sam and Jesse, like kind of like having like a fake conversation with the lighting.
Okay.
At least like with the lighting, how I sort of thought it might be. And then we took screenshots of those, printed them out on, you know, just had like a whole printout. So then when we were on set, we could look and be like, oh, look, I liked this, but I said, let's add a light here. And it was pretty much as easy as that. Was like, oh, what's missing here? Oh, it's that light that we said that we needed to add. We added the light, and we're like, it looks perfect.
Yeah.
That helped so much, especially with the party scene too. The party scene was probably the most difficult scene to film, just because I think I was so anxious. Like, it was one of the first scenes we filmed too, which is crazy. And I was just so anxious. I was like, there's so many people here on set. Everyone's waiting for me to like give the go ahead. It's completely silent, obviously too, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not like there's music playing and we're like vibing. There is some points when like we're taking a break and I'm playing music and letting people like have fun, but a lot of the times it's like action and it's all just quiet and people are like pretending to be drunk and pretending to be wild, and you're just like, I don't know if this is, and you know, like you've seen it, there's like all the strobe lights going. It's way more difficult to tell if your shots are looking correct in that low light kind of setting, to be honest. But I can guarantee you that if we didn't do pre-production, it would have looked like shit.
Yeah.
You know?
How do you, is it the same type of pre-production for something like that? Because you don't even have all the people in the room when you're doing pre-production. So are you able to really get a good idea beforehand, or you kind of just have to hope?
It's a lot of hopes and prayers.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Low light's a
it
nightmare.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's really about getting enough light just so it doesn't turn out grainy. That's often what my understanding of low light ends up being.
That's what's, you know what, actually shout out to Nick Adams again, because he taught me something that I had no idea of. And my first Cine camera is still the one that I use now, and it's the Blackmagic 4K. I got it when I got my first first job out of college. I was like, I really want to take this seriously. I can't just film on my iPhone anymore. As much as I love it, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of my old short films, like I have like a really silly like short film where it was like right after Joker came out.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if Luigi is like murdering all these like different like video game characters? It's actually really silly. I mean, if you want to watch it, go ahead. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called Luigi: The Art of Revenge. And it's very Joker inspired. I actually think it's hilarious. It's really stupid, but the visual effects are like pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. But so that was filmed all on an iPhone, and that to me was like my full capabilities of what I could do beyond a cinema camera. And so when I finally got this new camera, I've been experimenting with it for like years now. And Nick actually told me, so like when you get a Blackmagic camera, you get DaVinci Resolve as well. In DaVinci Resolve, you can actually adjust the ISO in post.
Okay.
So say if you shot something on like 1250 ISO and you're like, oh, it's too dark, you can literally up the ISO in post, but that's not like just upping the exposure of the image.
Right.
What it does is what you don't realize is that the data's already, like the visual data's already been collected through the camera. So you can like, without damaging the quality of your image, literally bring the brightness up.
So it's like shooting in RAW rather than JPEG. Like it's similar to that, where, you know, because you can't blow up, you can't like fix the exposure on a JPEG, but you can with the RAW photo.
Correct. Yeah. It's honestly incredible.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it helped a lot, because there were some shots that I was like, it's a little dark, and then I was able to take it from like 800 to like 1,000. I'm like, looks good.
Wow.
Yeah. You should still like light your scenes though, for sure. Obviously.
Of course, yeah.
But the
Pre-production, boys and girls.
yeah. But just these cameras are getting so good with the low light.
Yeah.
Filmography of it all. So
It's literally black magic.
it is, yeah,
It literally is. I mean, were there any memorable moments on set, like where I'm sure there are, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Loose Ends was such a fun set, and it's hard for me to watch the behind the scenes footage that my friend Sean got, because I'm like, man, like, to quote Andy from The Office or whatever, you really don't know.
You don't know you're in the good times.
You don't know you're in the good
over.
times until they're over. Yeah. And we all have these dreams to like be on these big Hollywood sets, or like not even to be in Hollywood, but to be making something for millions of people to see and for like theatrical releases and stuff like that. And you're like, man, that's the dream. But honestly, I think the dream is making these low budget films that you think no one's going to see.
Right.
Because you're just having so much fun. But what I'll say is the two moments that stand out the most to me on set is 100% the blood squib, because none of us had ever done that before. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The very first scene where we shoot Jimmy in the head. That was a moment where I was like, I'm not doing visual effects for that. It has to be real. Like, it has to be. I think it's going to set such a cool tone right up front if you're like, someone's got blasted in the head and like it's real blood.
Yeah.
And I just like did research. A lot of people, the suggestion was to like connect fishing line to a condom that's filled with blood.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Fake blood. Yeah. And then you yank it. You glue like a washer to it. And you yank it, but everyone's example online was like you shoot someone in front and then you do it, and then like blood just kind of like comes out.
Yeah, like you get shot in the chest. Or
yeah, and it looked fine, but I was like, I want like blah, like I
shoot out the back.
Yeah, and so other people were like, you have to get like a pressurizer and do all this, and I was like, oh man, like I don't know. Shout out to CBW, they also helped do that. Like I just sent them the YouTube tutorial, and I was like, guys, like day of, I can't be worrying about this. I'm sorry, but can you guys do it? And they're like, yeah, of course. So we prepped 3 different ones. The first one failed. The first one was broke. Like, also, this is like my parents' business. I don't want to like stain the patio with fake blood because it's just cement out there. So we knew we had to do it quick too. Like that's the other stress that people forget. It's like you do not have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to post like the behind the scenes for this moment, because you can tell everyone on set. There were probably like 6 or 7 of us for that moment. And that was the first take. Like, the first condom broke, and we're like, oh shit, this is gonna be a little bit more difficult than we think. And we're just like balancing it on Jimmy's like neck. And we're like, how is this gonna work? Like, I don't know. And we're like, let's just go for it. And I'll never forget it. I call action, and then I go bang, and Sam pulls the string. And I mean, just like the way that the blood just like came out of it, like his performance is great too, and it just looked so perfect and so good. And I remember like I had to like snap into director mode for a second and tell everyone like nobody move, because we I guess like to let everyone know another fun fact about this, we were using a real gun on set. Obviously it was not loaded, and I wanted to take another precaution in that shot, in the wide shot where like my character's like aiming the gun at Jimmy. Those are 2 different shots. Like I didn't even want to play around with like me aiming a real gun at someone.
Alec Baldwin learned that one.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, I can comp it. It'll be easy. Like I think also having such like a vast experience with visual effects helps a lot, where maybe some other director might have been like, oh no, like how are we going to do this? For me, I'm like, let's not even worry about it. I know I can do this. It's fine.
Yeah. Something like that's not even a hard edit, really, if it's the same shot.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
But you like the camera can't move, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Everyone got really excited, or also like people can't come into frame. You know what I mean? Because like you need that like at least I knew I wanted this moment where he's just kind of laying there lifeless. The George characters is still just kind of like looking at the chessboard, and my like it all needed to be that way.
Right.
And as soon as it happened, I'm jumping in frame, so excited like a kid, just being like, oh my God, And everyone, I mean, that was cool because everyone on set was like, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, you know, because
Yeah.
it worked, you know, like the blood really came out. It looked awesome.
With all that build up, like, oh, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work?
Yeah, it was definitely the riskiest moment, because then also we did it, and then we had to like clean up as soon as possible. You know what I mean? Like we did it, and we were like, oh my God, that was so cool. Everyone was like, holy crap. Like it worked so well. Sam was probably like 10 yards behind Jimmy pulling that string, and the blood still like got on his shoe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Another fun fact about that too is that, so there's 2 shots in that scene. So if you remember, like we have like the wide shot where like my character shoots him, and then we like go to the close up of the blood coming out of his head.
Yeah.
And then we have the shot where we show the blood on the ground. Those 2 shots were not scripted shots. Those are behind the scenes footage.
And you just threw him in there.
Because I was like, I have to. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, we need more from this. And I was looking through all the behind the scenes footage, and I was like, I had no idea that Sean got such awesome footage of this moment.
Yeah.
And if he would have never done that, that scene would have been fine at best. But
Yeah.
I think because he got that scene kills. Like, it's like, because you see the blood, you know what I mean? Like, you see it.
And kind of drives it in.
Yeah,
Seeing all that.
and I think like the thing with movies, it's like, yeah, sure, that framing of the shot isn't like completely cinematic, but also like we're sort of showing off, like, look, we did it for real.
Yeah.
Like that's what you do, you know,
Right.
in movies. It's like you show off a little bit. We really did it. We really used fake blood to like fucking make it look like someone got shot in the head. And
Yeah.
I think that's cool. So I think that's probably definitely going to be the most memorable moment for everyone on set. That in the fight scene, I think when me and this is kind of like not like a spoiler, but I feel like when you're watching it, you're like, this is bound to happen. These 2 guys are at each other's necks the whole time. There's a lot of, obviously, like, their relationship, the 2 brothers, is something that there was more written into that. But when we were filming it and executing it, I was like, I don't know if it matters too much. Like, maybe we dial back a little bit.
I think it all comes across anyway. Like, you don't
Thanks,
really
yeah.
need the extra details. Yeah.
Right. You get, like, they've had this relationship their whole lives. There's some sort of beef after the parents have passed away.
Yeah.
You know, big brother Gideon's the hired gun. He's living with that guilt of always having to like kill people, to a point where now he's desensitized to it. And the Victor character is like super overzealous and like thinks that he can like run the city, right?
Yeah.
And so them finally like fighting, I think, was so much fun because Shelby, who plays Eve, like the secret hired hitman, who's like the like sister, she's my favorite character of the whole thing. She does fight choreography as well, and so having her on set was so important, because when we were first kind of doing it, some of those shots like looked fine, and then she was like, try this and this and this, and then we do it and we're like, oh my God, it looks 100% better.
Yeah.
And what was crazy about that was we filmed like 3 different scenes in like what felt like a half an hour, because then it started to rain. And so that shot where Victor's just like slamming into Gideon from like the like low angle and blood's going on screen. There's like 5 people behind the camera holding like a tarp above the camera because it started to rain, and we're just like moving so quick, we're freaking out. But yeah, that was a really, really fun scene to shoot as well. It was all fun, but yeah, I think the blood squib definitely takes the cake. I mean, that was like an accomplishing feeling as a director for me too. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, I've never done this before, and it just worked.
Yeah.
You know, no questions asked. Let's move on.
How did you? I like how the dream sequence stuff was so stylized. How did
thank
you
you.
choose to shoot that? Like, what was the idea behind getting all that stuff? Because I mean, it's kind of shot separately than everything else. Like, it feels separate. Like,
Yeah.
it cuts. It's just quick cuts, and you see it. Was that just like just going and sitting in a bathtub and?
Oh yeah. Well, so what's funny about the dream sequences is so I'm very involved in like the internet filmmaking space as well.
Yeah, kind of look like a music video almost.
I love music videos. I want to direct more music videos. If you like look through my work on my Instagram, when I'm not making short films, I'm making like microfilms. Is kind of like what they're called now. Is like kind of like visuals for songs and stuff. If you're familiar with like Creator Camps,
No.
Creator Camp, they're basically like, they're like a low budget production I shouldn't say low budget production company at this point, but they're like a group of 20 something year olds. And I've like had the awesome opportunity of like meeting them quite a few times and like going to like quite a few of their events. They are like right now leading the independent industry and bridging the gap between the internet and Hollywood. They actually hosted, like, really quick tangent, I don't want to get too over there on that, but they're just so great. They hosted a little film festival. There's like 1,200 people there. They hosted a film festival in Austin, technically last year now, in April, which to me was like my jump start, to be honest, because I had felt like such like an outsider looking in, and like a lot of my favorite creators were there presenting work. So like Zach Shy Guy, Gawks, Natalie Lynn, all these different awesome creators who just like are basically setting the standard for like internet filmmaking.
Yeah.
Patreon funded for them to basically produce a bunch of different short films and a feature film that then were presented at this festival. It was like a 2-day thing. Creators from all over the world got to meet. And then they hosted a 1-day film challenge that coincidentally me and my group won, which was like crazy because then all these eyes were on us and we won all these different things, and all the things that we won I was able to use to make this short film. So it was a crazy full circle moment.
That's where we get the what was it, the camera?
Not the camera, but like the Rode mics, and like the softbox lighting, a bunch of different things. Excuse me. And so they've been like a big inspiration. Oh man, now I'm gonna lose my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
What did I ask you? Oh, the music video, the dream sequence.
Got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So like, I was just working so hard and making cool visuals the whole year, kind of as like an attempt to prove like that to myself more so, that I can kind of do like multiple things a little bit. Like I've always loved visual effects, like I said, and just like ambiguous storytelling. So I was like, let's like do that and practice that.
It's a cool way to start the movie too.
Thank you. Yeah, that opening scene is probably my favorite scene. That was the scene that like a lot of people really do like, and I'm like really happy about, because that was the scene like that I saw in my head the most, for sure. Yeah. The opening scene like is just one of those scenes.
I feel like it just makes your character automatically mysterious.
100%. Yeah. And like that was the goal. Also, fun fact, that was a real dream that I had.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that opening scene was very different. Originally, the writing for it was Gideon was like my like, he's like, and I'm so happy that we changed it, because originally it was going to be like way more like Italian American, where he's like, yeah, like Linda wants me to like get this new cat, so we got a new cat and I have to cut its balls off, stuff like that, because I just got a new cat. And it is funny. It was funny, but I was like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like we're building into anything here. Like we're just like wasting screen time. Yeah. And then I had that dream, like quite literally, I had that dream where I was like climbing these steel beams really high up in the ocean, and I didn't think I was going to slip and fall, and then I did, and then like landed in the water and like almost suffocated in the water, but wasn't drowning, but like was like it was kind of a scary dream. I remember I woke up and I was telling my girlfriend about the dream, and as I was telling her about it, I was like, this is what Gideon should be talking about. Like, this is what this character's going through, and what is foreshadowing what he will be going through, you know? And I was like, this is so perfect. And so what I like to do is I like to Easter egg things for people. So like the shot of me in the bathtub, and like those different shots of me with the like one lighting dark void things were shots that I had prepped months before releasing Loose Ends as like fun teasers to different microfilms that I made, but with the intention of knowing that some of these are going to be used for the film.
Yeah, because it, like I said, it almost feels separate in a way.
Yeah. And that was sort of intentional, because I was, and it's okay if like not many people are like getting this from it, but I was, the attempt was to try to show with the Gideon character that there's this potential, that there's this other life that they could have lived. Right. And that actually
like the architect thing.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly why he says that. Some people were like, not like as a criticism, but like as like an interest. They were like, oh, like, was there more into the like architect thing? And I was like, truly no. Yeah. It's just, I just needed to humanize him. I just needed you to realize like, oh, there could have been something that he could have done. But no, there couldn't have been anything else that he could have done. This is like what he was going to do no matter what.
Because if I were to interpret that, I would have thought that it would be like he feels like he's not in control and his brother's in control.
Yeah.
And like an architect is building. An architect has a vision and creates.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that, but he wanted that.
That's cool.
That's what I thought it meant.
That is really cool. Yeah, I mean, and please run with that interpretation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I will never tell people how they interpreted
That's
my work.
The beauty of art.
Yeah, I know. That's why I just love it so much. Because that could totally be true to the psychology of that character.
Yeah.
100%. Somebody who feels that they have no control, which is why, that is why he kills Jimmy in the first scene.
Yeah.
Is to like, ironically, finally take control. Because then, then the conversation after that, he's, Victor's like, you weren't supposed to kill him, whatever. And I think Gideon's finally like, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do anymore.
Yeah.
Gideon's character is really interesting because I wrote him to kind of be like the cool character and to also be like the like tragic. He's like the other side of the coin to Eli's character. That's why they have that really weird, not weird conversation, but when they just kind of share that cigarette break before the party scene. That's a scene that we almost cut because I was like, are people not going to get it? But it's one of my favorite scenes actually too, because it's just a conversation between two very different people.
Yeah.
But they relate. And I think that's the cool thing is, I'm from the South Side of Chicago, and I just a part of my experience is knowing people who unfortunately were born into lives that they couldn't escape, and some of them are not here with us anymore. And that's just a reality that you kind of have to accept growing up in the area that I'm from. And it's kind of crazy that I didn't intentionally write that into this, but looking back, that's like absolutely like where some of like the basis of that character is.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like that was like a big part of why I wanted this dream sequence to feel reoccurring, is because like you as the audience is supposed to feel almost a little bit like he is, lack of a better words, like up against his own fate, so to speak. But like Gideon knows it too.
Yeah.
Almost since like the start of the film, Gideon knows like I can't last much longer. Also, I think I just watched the Brutalist, so I was like, architect, cool, yeah,
Just fresh in your mind.
Yeah, because I want to be real, I don't want people to like assume that like, oh, every decision, every piece of your like art has to be like this like specific. Sometimes no, it's just you throw spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah.
And you like something, like stylistically, like also it's my movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or like if you're making an album, it's my album. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I think to me, that's the beauty and the luxury of art, and why I love when people criticize art and they don't make art. Because it's like, well, because you realize people are saying things and you're like, well, your basis of what you're saying is what you assume to be true because you watch like all the Marvel movies, or like, you know what I mean? Or like you like all like the big Hollywood movies, and that's fine. But you don't realize that to make art that's why we do it. That's why some of the greatest artists and filmmakers and musicians are who they are, is because they looked at what everyone else was doing and they said, no, like I'll respect the foundation of what this is, but I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And put my own love and interest into it. I want to make a Pokemon movie. You know what I mean? Like I love Pokemon so much, but I know that like...
But different than Detective Pikachu.
Yeah. I don't hate that movie.
Me neither. But that's somebody's interpretation for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Oh my God, that's so funny.
I feel like, when I heard David Lynch say, when David Lynch is one of my favorite directors.
Oh yeah.
And I heard him say once that like what made him want to make films is he just looked at a painting, and I think it was he thought he saw it move, and in his brain he thought, a moving painting. And that's like where it all starts for him, is this idea of a moving painting. And I think that, I don't know if he said this directly, but to me, it's like what should be happening in any art, anything you look at, music, anything, it should be about the conversation that you have with yourself when you view it. That's what it's really about. It's not about what the intent of the creator is. It's not about what it's saying directly. It's about what it makes you think of, because that's what's so beautiful about it, is that we're all I could watch the same movie 10 years after I saw it the first time and think something completely different than when I saw it the first, because I'm a different person now.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome. That means it's a good movie, because who can tell me what the movie is? I know what I think it is. And I feel like it's like an intimate experience when I watch a movie, when I listen to music, when I view art, because I'm allowed to have a dialogue with myself in this way. And that's very cool. And I wish more people looked at it that way. And I think if artists looked at it more that way, you'd get more interpretive art and stuff that's not spoon feeding you and stuff that's not telling you how to feel. It should leave this room for the audience, because then you have something really magical.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. No, I really love that. To step away from film really quick, probably my favorite animated series of all time is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I mentioned that is because that is like what absolutely speaks to me with that is like, the older I get, the more I realize like the genius of other people's work when I'm able to like just appreciate something completely different at different stages of my life, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, of course I watched it as a kid. I was like, yeah, this is cool. People are like doing stuff with like elements, you know what I mean? And then when I'm like 19 and then I like rewatched it again, I'm like, oh my God, like this is
an actual
this is like
story.
the best coming of age story ever.
Yeah.
That also highlights like the complications of war and like political diplomacy. Like, it's so incredible.
And it's for kids.
Yeah, but like, you don't need to be a kid at all to enjoy it. You know what I mean? And you just see so many different lessons in it. And I'm sure when I'm 40, I'll probably watch it and then I'll be like, wow, like I feel like a whole new like avenue of thoughts coming into me. So I agree. I think there's a sense of timelessness that is baked into art. My girlfriend is like a huge studier scholar of art history, and like literal, like not specifically Renaissance paintings, but I feel like that's like the best way to explain it. And I love talking to her about this too, because I feel like she has like kind of like a different perspective on it. Not like to say that like what we like she believes like that this isn't true or anything, but we've just talked about how that's why it's so impressive that people like in like the 1600s and 1700s made what they made, and we keep them in museums now, is because like they did have this intentionality that people hundreds of years from now will be appreciating this and will be understanding it, and it will connect them to who we are now. I think that's the weirdest thing about the internet to me, though, compared to like physical media and how now like everything is on the internet, is I feel like it's going to warp time, I think, for people in the future.
How?
Because I think, like, when you watch, something just came up on my feed the other day where it was, like, these interviews of high schoolers from, like, 2016 or something. And I was in high school in 2016, which is crazy.
Class of 2016.
There you go, yeah. Wow, yeah. That's crazy. And so I just feel like, because the media, like the difference in mediums are starting to blend. So like, I'm trying to think how I can explain this. You could pick up a CD from like the 1990s and like understand like, oh, this was the only way that people could listen to this. And that's what makes it special. Or like the radio had to play it.
Right.
But like with the internet, you can just like watch something and be like, oh, like if people could always watch this, right? Or like they could always enjoy it, or like this was always like a possibility.
Yeah, you used to have to go to a theater to see a film again.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you like that's even crazy to like think about. Like, I can still remember when you had to like order something on Netflix for it to be delivered, like kind of right after Blockbuster was like being figured out. Redbox, you know what I mean? There was like this like novelty to like what we consumed. Or even like paintings. You couldn't like look up a painting. Right. You couldn't be like, what does that painting look like? You'd be like, you have to go see it.
Yeah.
You have to fly to the Netherlands and go look at the painted lady. You know,
and they're
like,
two fundamentally different things, like seeing a photo of a painting and seeing the physical rendering of the painting.
Yeah, and so I think that's why, and I'm not even trying to like knock the internet. I think the internet is an incredible thing. It's a scary thing, but
I would say that accessibility decreases novelty. I would chalk it up to that, right?
Yes.
Like the novelty of those things is kind of lost when everything is so accessible.
Yeah,
because it feels special when you have to seek it out and you have to find it.
And that's
you have to go to a record store and pick up a record. You know,
100%. Oh my goodness, yeah. I need to upgrade my record collection dearly.
I got one.
There you go. But actually, you know, funny enough, to bring this conversation full circle, actually, I think that's what made the event so cool. Was like, sure, I'll be able to post this on YouTube in a little while, and who knows, and it might do all right, might get a couple thousand views, might actually get some traction, people might see it. But to actually see people motivated and inspired and like mentally as well as physically there at this event to celebrate local art, it's like this, like, you can't do this though.
Yeah.
In any other way. You can like host a premiere online, I guess, but it's so different than getting a whole room of hundreds of people together who all like believe in the same thing. And it wasn't just filmmakers, like there were dancers, there were musicians, singers, writers, all these different sorts of people. And I think building a community around your art, I think, is the best way, at least from what I'm learning, to kind of combat that concern that people have that like art can't be novel anymore. I think it can be. I just think you just have to get a little bit more creative on how you deliver it.
Yeah, and forming a community around it's probably the way. Because I think that it allows it to be bigger than it is, in a sense. Like, it means more than just the piece itself. And I think people recognize that. People feel it. And when people feel it, they don't forget the feeling of it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's so true. Now that you're saying that, I'm like almost...
Don't cry.
Oh, no, yeah. No, not today.
I only had one person cry on the show, and you can't be the second.
Was it Jerry?
It was Jerry. It was definitely Jerry.
No, absolutely. And I think I will be struggling with imposter syndrome my entire life, of course.
Yeah.
Just being a creative, that's just like the nature of it, right? But I think it's like a good way to like keep yourself humble too.
I think it keeps you inspired as well.
Absolutely.
It makes you want to make more.
Absolutely. I watch Loose Ends and I'm like, this is cool, I'm proud of this, but I could do so much better. And that's crazy to think about, because a lot of work went into it. And then I'm just like, but like, I could do this better. I'm like,
everybody's telling you good job. You're like, I know, but
literally, it's hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I also instinctively will kind of disassociate like my own, like, not responsibility, but like my own impact, because like when I went to that Creator Camp Film Festival, I was so inspired, because like the short films that we watched were not only made with like $10,000 budgets, but by creators with big massive followings.
Yeah.
And they were all really great, but I remember watching them being like, oh, I could do this. And Loose Ends was made almost as a proof of concept, like, if I was one of those filmmakers who was given that like big budget, this is something along the lines that I probably would have made. And so it was cool to see that and to walk away from that and feeling that, because now I'm like, oh my goodness, and like people have like reached out. I mean, I'm doing interviews and stuff like that now, and I'm very grateful. But I'm like kind of, and it's funny because I just got off this fever that I had. Oh my goodness, I was so sick.
Dude, January 1st, I was dying.
Weekend.
I was dying January 1st.
I don't know if it's the age or something, but this last go around, I was like, I've never been that sick in my entire life.
Yeah, what's going on?
I was like, I feel fine now, but I was like, whoa, like I was waking up being like in a fever dream, like feeling like I'm like on a ship that's sinking. You know what I mean? Like my cat was meowing and I thought it was like a ship horn. Like I was like, I'm going crazy.
It's gonna be the first scene to his next movie.
Yeah. But as I was like laying in my bed dying, I couldn't help but think, I was like, someone is making a movie right now because they were so inspired by this event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like someone is like finally writing that book that they've been telling them. You know what I mean? Someone's making that song that they want to, like,
in the same way that you were inspired by that event.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's honestly like a beautiful feeling.
To me, that's what it's all about.
That really is what it's all about.
Yeah.
And that's what's strange, is like it teaches you that your hard work will never be fully acknowledged. And I don't say that to like
it's not a
demotivate anyone.
You don't mean it pessimistically.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Absolutely not. I think it more so is a good thing to know, because then you realize you're like, no one's going to appreciate this hard work, but like at the end of the day, when you've woken up and gone back to sleep, if you've accomplished what you tried to accomplish that day, like you do know that. And I think that's the hardest thing to like live with sometimes, is like, did I do enough today? And at the end of the day, I think it's like, if your hard work speaks for itself, then it's worth the work, even if no one else realizes it. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm just super grateful that I'm able to like look around and say like, a part of that hard work was looping in other people and like communicating with other people and just like spending all these nights up until 3 a.m. being like, I hope this is worth it,
Yeah.
you know, and nobody sees that. And they don't need to see me at 3 a.m. like
Yeah.
in my underwear, like editing my movie and like stressing over stuff. Right.
The scene's not blue enough.
Right. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. Or like you can see the fishing line in the shot. Like
Yeah.
no one cares. But I think people feel it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They don't see it, but they feel it. And yeah, I mean, people are walking away from that event really like moved. And I was just like so surprised that like my hometown friends, even more specifically, were like, dude, you got to do this every year.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, no. But I do want to. I do want to do it again. The goal is to maybe do it at Music Box this year. I think that would be really cool.
Music Box is a great venue.
It is, and they're technically, I think, the sister theater to the Ramova Theater.
Oh.
So I feel like that'd be like a cool transition. I'm currently putting together like a press kit for the event, in hopes that we can kind of like sell it into them and just kind of be like, hey guys, like, look what we were able to do at Ramova. Imagine how cool this would be at Music Box. Because I know that they host the big Chicago International Film Festival every year, but it's like, how often do we see stuff like this, you know, where it's
And
like...
I think they're open to like people coming in and renting it out and doing stuff like that.
I think so too, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, today has been like the first day, I think, where I feel like a human again, which is why I'm happy that this
Welcome
worked
back.
out. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It feels good to be on Earth again. But yeah, I want to start getting those conversations in motion very soon.
Because I mean, like for me, producing events and making stuff happen in real life is the coolest thing. You know, like yeah, as a musician, like it's cool to put a song out there and have people hear it, but there's nothing like performing a song and
yeah.
having people react and having people walk up to you and say, "Yo, this made me feel this." That's cool. That's the sauce right there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, making a song is fun and hearing it all come together. Watching your movie once it's done is cool, but it's not really as cool until you see it in front of the audience and everybody's feeling it all at once.
It's electrifying. You know, it's
gratifying.
It is gratifying, and it reminds you how much larger than life your own work can be. You know, like when I was making this film, it's so easy to be like, this is my film, this is my film, this is my film. And then as soon as it started on screen, it didn't feel like it was my film anymore. Like I was like, oh, this is for everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the event too. I was so stressed. Oh man, the day of the event, a lot of things were not going right.
Nobody knows what it's like to produce an event until you've done it.
Well, that's what's cool. You know, I recommend every creative to try to host some sort of event because you will learn so much about what it takes to do that, and you will acquire so many skills that you didn't know that you had.
Yeah.
That then you can advertise to brands, to clients, or to like potential jobs. Like you just become such a standout person once you're able to say like, yeah, I mean, I can like do Photoshop and stuff like that, but I can also coordinate an event where like 50 to like 100 people are like inspired and stuff like that, and then they're like, oh well, that's the sort of skill set that no one would not want. 100%. But what I was gonna say about that is, yeah, like I was so stressed. I was like, God, this is like the screen that we were gonna like show everything on was not working until like 6 o'clock and doors opened at 6:30. I was like, this is so stressful. Like the venue was great. It was just like, it's scary when like they're so used to doing events, so like everyone's rolling in at like 6 o'clock, you know, setting their stuff up, and I've been there since noon, like stressing about the screen, setting tables up, like chairs, like all this different stuff, and just worried and just being like, I don't know what's gonna happen at 6:30.
Yeah.
And then as soon as 6:30 started, doors open, people were already walking in, people I did not know, and I was like, this is crazy. And immediately it became their event.
Yeah.
It's so weird how like months of my life can be put into something, and then as soon as the fire starts, it's like, oh, now it's just up to them to make the event fun. Like it was kind of crazy, kind of surreal to like experience that, to be honest. And especially with the film, yeah, too. You're like so in your head about all of your stuff, and then you share it with other creatives, and you forget to, I think what's awesome about showing your work to other creatives instead of just like your friends is like, your friends will be way more critical because they don't create.
Right.
But like when I watch other creatives work, of course I'm like, oh, maybe they could have done this better, or like there was like a fault there, but I don't care. I'm like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like great job, because I know how hard this is, you know.
Yeah. To make anything.
To make anything. Yeah. I mean, I used to make music. I had like a short music stint for a while, and so I cannot help but listen to music and like really appreciate like well mixed stuff.
Yeah,
and,
because
like,
even that, it's not as simple as just hitting a button and going. Yeah, people like to think that.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And the hard part to remember too is that when something is good, you kind of it should be kind of seamless. It should be the case that you shouldn't see how it's done because it's put together so well that you don't see the fishing line and you don't hear the part that I cut out of the 10 other takes that I did. You don't consider any of that stuff because there's not even a hint of it anymore.
Yeah,
all that stuff is kind of hidden in the background now. It's gone.
Oh my goodness,
that's like the stroke of talent is when you can do that.
100%. And you know, stuff is always gonna sneak themselves in there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean,
and you
that's
will
just how
see it
is.
before everybody else does, and you will probably be the only one who still sees it, except the other creatives who don't care.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There's definitely a shot in loose ends. The camera moves so quick, so I'm like whatever, but you can definitely see like a light reflecting in like one of the things in the wall.
And you go.
Yeah, no. Every time I see it, I'm like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
you know, it's just the nature of the game. I mean, that's what's so much cooler though about like human work compared to AI too, right? Like AI will never do that. Like it'll
make
never
mistakes.
It'll never make mistakes like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cool thing about art is that human imperfection, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's a good point too. You said it a couple times now. I think it's a really important thing to consider is like just in general, people are always going to have opinions, but it tends to be the people who have the least amount of experience that have the most opinions.
100%.
They're going to be the ones that'll tell you, oh, well, you could have done this and you could have done this and you could have done this. And in your mind, you're hearing their criticisms and you're like, yeah, but, you know, because you know all the other factors that led to that decision.
Yeah.
And they don't know any of that. So it's kind of like useless to even argue with them or just smile and nod.
100%. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like I could talk about that for hours. Like like when someone says like, oh, like this person's line read was a little robotic, or like
it's like, yeah, we had 10 minutes.
Literally, it's like we had 10 minutes. That person doesn't act. You know what I mean? Or like they just think that you show up with a script and a camera and then you do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't understand that I tell people to show up on set at, let's say 2 p.m. Like crew. Cast shows up at 3. Mm-hmm. We're not done setting up.
Yeah.
They show up. We're still setting up. You know what I mean? Like, and that's okay. You know, I think people are always going to have their own opinions.
Yeah, you just have to accept it.
You just have to accept it.
Yeah.
And you know, you're not going to appeal to everyone. I think honestly, my girlfriend was a huge help with this because she is just so smart. She's very intelligent. And when she watched it, she was like, that was really good. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And she was like, fine, no, it's really good. And I was like, oh, thanks. And you know, I just always want to like confirm and ask, because I of course like pre-showed it to people too as I was working on it. That's something that is still new to me as well. And she actually had some really good advice, and I asked her, I was like, you didn't feel confused by anything? She was like, no. I was like, okay. But then other people felt confused, and then I would I ask her about some stuff, and she's like, well, those people are dumb. And I was like, God, I love you. Because, like, yeah, like, I mean, no. I wouldn't say that, like, you know, I wouldn't call anyone dumb, but, like.
She would.
Yeah, but she would. And I'm like, you know what, fair. You know, that's her, and that's why I love her.
And I think that's, like, you know, you just don't want to dumb things down for the dumbest person in the room. You really don't with your art.
No.
That's the worst thing you could do.
It is, yeah.
And I think that's infected so many things. I mean, now you hear about, like, Netflix mandate, writing mandate. I'm sure you probably heard of this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
watching, like, the last season of Stranger Things.
I was just about to say.
It's like, holy shit.
When we watched the finale, you've seen it, I imagine, yeah. And I don't want to rip on it too much.
I could go for days.
Yeah, but that I think is
just because the first season was so good and set the standard so high.
The first season of Stranger Things is truly phenomenal television, through and through. I remember, and this is so funny. Like I guess I wasn't as naive as I thought, but that came out when I was was like 13 or 14 maybe. And I remember at first I was like, I don't know, because like my parents were like super into it. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, it's 80s, it's cool. I'm like, okay, whatever.
You guys are old. Of course you like that.
Right. Well, and I love the 80s. Like Back to the Future is my favorite movie.
Cool.
But I think for some reason I was just like, we'll see. I think also too, like, I'll admit, I think at that time I was a theater major at Lincoln Park High School, like 100%. So I think I was like, I'm an actor. Like, I don't need to watch these kids act. You know, whatever. But I watched it and I was like, that was amazing. And I truly thought Stranger Things was going to be like was going to be an anthology series.
Like it was meant to be.
It was supposed to be, but I didn't ever hear that. But when I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm excited to see what the story is next season because this felt like it wrapped.
Yeah.
But of course, it was so successful and it made a bunch of money. They're like, we got to keep it going. Which I think was already the first sign that like this is not going to be what everyone is hoping for. It's going to be fine. And I mean, I think it's a bummer because like Stranger Things, to me, it's like this generation's Harry Potter.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when Deathly Hallows was coming out, that was a big deal. And it lived up to the hype. Like I remember when I saw the first one, I was like, this is cool. And it ended dark, and then like, spoilers by the way, but they reveal that like Harry is a Horcrux. I'm like, this is fire. This is cool. He has to die. Like, oh my God. Like they built the stakes. And I know it's pre-written, but like, the films still do a great job, I think, of like adapting what is necessary to the story and giving you that experience. And
also they did a great job at tonally maturing over time. Like they managed to pull that off where it wasn't the same thing all the way through. Absolutely. But it was good for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those first two movies especially definitely feel more like family films. And as it goes on, you're like, oh yeah, they are not afraid to explore some more darker elements within this world because they recognized this world can be dark.
Well, and like the audience had grown up with them, so it's kind of necessary.
Yeah. And I think the finale to Stranger Things, I think, is a great example of what to avoid. Like I just remember I just keep on having this thought. I'm like, you know what? No one has to die. Like Steve doesn't even lose an arm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that would be so cool if like. Because then they tried to do the thing where they tease you like, oh, Steve's going to fall off the tower and Jonathan saves him. I thought the decision that Jonathan saves him, awesome. But to do this weird like teasing us that this character's going to die is just so... It's just such a nothing moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I consider that disrespectful to the audience.
A little bit.
Like, not only that, they had said in interviews, oh, we don't want to kill characters for cheap shock value. Okay, so don't pretend that you're going to for cheap shock value. If that's your reason, then you can't then tease me and make me go, oh, and then...
I know.
Like, what are we doing?
My assumption is they were probably like, their fail-safe for that was like, oh, like we want to like build the bond between Jonathan and Steve or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, fine, but there's so many other ways to do that. And like I said, this is not a Stranger Things podcast, but what I'll say finally on that is, like then I know a lot of people's qualms have been that there's no demogorgons or bats or anything in the abyss. And they were like, oh, we just want to focus on the final battle. I'm like, oh man, guys.
I just feel like they betray, like, it's like, if this is just storytelling 101. If you set up rules early on, you can't then go on to break those rules. Yeah. Because now, if you're an audience member that has paid attention and you like it for what it is, like you genuinely enjoy it, then you're going to feel like, well, this isn't even the thing that I bought into originally. And, the people who defend it, a lot of it seems like they're saying like, oh, well, you're just hating on it to hate on it. And it's like, no, it's people who genuinely were invested that liked it. And they feel like this wasn't what they signed up for. That's most of what I see. It's not people who are just haters. And that's not it at all. And also, like, it's a great point to say it's this generation's Harry Potter. Because, I mean, that's really the tragedy for me is we don't have this type of stuff anymore.
Right.
We don't have
these like cultural points. Yeah.
And this was like our last chance.
Yeah.
So I was holding on to this.
I know.
They betrayed me.
I know. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There are just so many things that they could have just thrown in there just to make it a little bit more.
I mean,
worthwhile.
So I just heard one criticism where it's like, if Will's connected to the hive mind, he should have gotten hurt when the mind flayer dies. And I was thinking, I could have forgiven so much if he had like died when the mind flayer died. I would have been like, whoa, no way. Only because it makes sense with the rules of the story. I'd be like, wow, you established those rules and then you followed through with that. That's crazy. And then the 11 fake out thing at the very end, that just drives me nuts because it's a fake conversation that you're forcing the fans to have. It's like, oh, well, did she or didn't she? It's like, just make a choice as a storyteller.
Yeah.
Decide what you're going to do and make a choice. Don't leave it ambiguous, because that ambiguous choice is not ambiguous for like the story's sake. It's ambiguous for like the, oh, well, everybody's got to keep talking about the show. And it's really only to generate conversation and not for the sake of good storytelling. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, I know.
I get so upset
I know.
because I wanted it to be good so bad. I wanted it to be good.
Oh my goodness, of course.
And then you have like the Netflix writing mandate thing throughout the whole season, because that's how we even brought it up, where it's like this season more than any of the other ones, it was so clear that they were writing it to dumb everything down. Like they were really trying to over-explain everything.
Sorry, I should have like asked for confirmation. The Netflix mandate thing was like the second screen thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, so it's
That's
like,
terrible.
let's just assume everybody's distracted and nobody's paying attention, so that way, if you missed the last 5 scenes, they'll just spell it out for you.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the whole rule is show don't tell. That's the storytelling rule.
Yeah.
You should be subtly showing me, and then I get to make the connections, and I get to go, oh, you don't get that one time throughout this new season. You just don't get it.
I know.
And the first season does that, and the second season does that. The third one does it. They do it the whole show until now.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know. I just feel like the only way you can fix that and fight against stuff like that is just write good stories.
Yeah.
You just have to keep writing good stories and keep doing well, because it's just going to become more prevalent I think the more and more people consume that, the more and more normal it becomes. And that's the world I'm afraid of, is where people think they have to do that.
And that's what's interesting about this is like the consumers are always just going to gravitate towards what's easiest to consume.
Exactly. And audiences are smart if you allow them to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm guaranteed that there are people who love Breaking Bad who also watched Stranger Things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Breaking Bad is a perfect television show.
I feel like it ruined me because it was so perfect.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's hard to like watch something like that and then to just like kind of have to just like accept that then there's this other show that has way more money put into it and it's just fine.
Yeah.
Towards the end of it. And I think it's good that people are starting to see this, that people are truly getting fed up with like companies like Netflix and like the whole Hollywood industry, and why I'm excited and why it made sense to do this fest was like,
and indie filmmaking will always have the soul in it. You'll never lose it.
I think so too, and it's cool. Like, I think we're finally getting sick of waiting for permission from Hollywood to be convinced, like, oh, like no one wants to watch your stuff unless we say it's good enough.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Because what you guys are putting out, like, is like easy bake oven sort of like stuff, you know, like, and so I think it's just a matter of time until audiences kind of, I don't want to say revert, but there will be like a Wall-E kind of like classification of things where people are going to get a little too afraid of the AI and a little too comfortable with like the half-baked watch stuff, and they will start to look for more like real stories again.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of just comes in ebbs and flows.
Physical media is coming back in like a cool way, like kids are starting to get flip phones and stuff. Like I think more in like an attempt to be like edgy and like retro, right? But you know what, like I think go for it. Like, I want to see more people with Walkmans and you know what I mean, like because that also I think adds to what we were saying about like art being novel. Yeah. Like I used to love like burning CDs and like making my own like I guess mixtapes, like albums, and like drawing on the blank ones, you know what I mean? And being like, I'm listening to this because this is a curated playlist that I want to listen to, not just like Spotify wants me to listen to this stuff, so I'm going to listen to it. Yeah. So then at the end of the year, I can tell everyone, look at what I listen to. Right. You know what I mean? It's more like, oh my God, it was just so much cooler when you could be like, oh, like this is like my music CD with like songs that I like. And
Fire Jams 05 or something.
Yeah, Kids Bop.
Right. Yeah, it's just all Kids Bop songs. What's up with this guy? Yeah, it feels personal that way. I think it feels more personal. And like I think that like it's just weird because it's not even just film. I think it infects everything in this way. I think everything, and I think like what happens is it's just I think it all boils down to money and what people are investing in, and that's where you get that Hollywood idea, right? It's like, where are the studios putting their money? And this has always been a problem. It's not like this just started. I mean, I have a book, I think it's right here, Writing Screenplays That Sell. This book's from like the 80s, late 80s.
Michael Hogg.
What's that?
Michael Hogg.
Michael Hogg, yeah.
Nice.
And he's talking about, he uses the Karate Kid as an example. And a big thing he talks about in it is like, when you're selling a screenplay to a studio, you're kind of selling this idea of like, you're able to write something commercial, but only so like you have your creative idea, and then you think, well, how can I sell this to these creative executives who only want to fund something that's commercially viable?
Right.
And that was then. It's gotten like 10 times worse since then. Because now they really only want previous IPs. They want safe choices. And so it's like, you have to either be an established filmmaker, like an amazing auteur filmmaker who just knows how to do it, and you've proven that. Or you just have to maybe, I don't know, get lucky. And like, I think the fact that you have all these people who are raised on YouTube, like we've all seen what is possible. Yeah, we've seen it. Like, you don't have to. There's nothing you could do to tell us that we're wrong, because we've seen it before. Yeah, you know, I think like Casey Neistat inspired so many filmmakers just because he did that for so long, so consistently.
I think just like creators in general, not even just filmmakers.
Yeah,
you know, like he was someone who was just like really showed everyone you can just pick up a camera and do it.
Yep.
And and I just know a lot of my like friends who are creators, like that's their goat, you know.
Yeah. To the point where it almost becomes like trite to bring him up, because everybody was kind of inspired by him. He inspired so many people. Yeah. But I mean, like, it's just a testament to how far away people have gotten from that, and how disconnected the people funding this stuff are. Like, they don't understand that it's a different world. They really don't know. Yeah. Or they're just, you know, closing their eyes and hoping.
And just throwing money at a dartboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. You know, but I think that's what's a little inspirational about it, for sure.
Exactly. I choose to be optimistic about it.
Same.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like you said, like, you bring two people together for a film festival and for an event, and you still have that fire in the air. You still have that electric energy.
Oh, yeah.
It's all still there. So, like, it's not like it's gone. It's just that people have to lead the charge, and people have to prove that it's still alive.
Which is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
But it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, I think, I don't know. To be transparent, 2025 was a pretty big year for me personally. Yeah. And it feels weird to think that now, it feels like there's a lot more eyes on me, like kind of like waiting to see like
the next thing,
what 2026 is going to be like. And I'm like, man, I just want to break, but I know like no, you know what I mean? Like, it's, especially since then, it's like you have to keep on going, because like other people are going to fight this fight, but no one's going to fight the fight like you are.
Exactly.
No one has your voice. No
and
one
like,
has
it's
your
like you said
perspective on
earlier
it.
about like doing something different. Like, you want to do something different. Only you can do that different thing that is you. Nobody else can pick that up and do it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, whatever that is that you represent to those people that you inspire, you are the one who has to continue to do it. You know, it makes it feel weird. It's kind of hard then to pick up the next pen and write the next script, because, what are they expecting from me?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I have been kind of noodling on some ideas again, which is exciting. But I totally agree. Like, I've been trying not to think that way, to think like, oh, all these people are like waiting for like what I have to come out. Because I think the best lesson that I've learned, especially creating on the internet, is like, nobody cares about you in a good way. It's like, no one cares what you're doing. You can post whatever you want. Nobody cares. Yeah. And that's a good thing, because the people who do care are the people that you want to care. Right. And
they'll probably care regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm hopeful, to be honest, is that because I was able to do that, then someone else will do it, and then I don't have to do it next time. And then they just be like, do you want to show your film? And then I could be like, yes. And then I could have the easy job, you know. But the reality of it is like, or, you know, people have been asking me, and I kind of love that I'm able to like talk about this a little bit, to give some people like insight. It really is true what people say about like, life does not happen for you or come at you. Like, you really do like set your own path. Like, it really, it's scary but liberating when you realize like it is all up to you.
Yep.
And
And you can't wait for an opportunity.
you can't wait. There's no waiting. No, it's like every day you have to go out and create your own opportunities. Like that's why I did that festival. Like so many people that I idolize and that I look up to and that I see as contemporaries and like production companies here in the city would have never really cared about what I was doing or what I could do both creatively and for the community unless I did that. But what I was going to say there was some of my friends have been asking me, so like, are people writing about it? Like, are people talking about it? I'm like, one person did write about it, but what you have to understand is like, just because I did something cool doesn't just mean then that all these people are going to be talking about it.
Yeah.
It's now up to me to, like I said, put a press kit together, cold email the Chicago Reader and Blog Club and Southside Weekly, and then tell them, hey, I did something cool, and spoon feed it to them, so then they talk about it. Like, this is how it works.
Yeah.
You know, it only until you get to a very prestigious point where then people are just like asking you to like, or like talking about you or like wanting to like work with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
That takes so much time and effort that people don't realize. So it's never ending, you know, the grind don't stop, right? But I think if you're able to switch gears a little bit periodically and say like, I'm going to take a break, but still like, so yeah, like I'm not making a movie right now, but yeah, like I'm doing the press kit stuff. Like I'm like trying to get these conversations going. So then hopefully then when that wave is happening, if it gets written about, I'm already like working on the next thing. You know what I mean? Because I think finding that balance is like the biggest part of it too. Like when you're trying to lead a creative force, you know, and I don't really have like the intention of like creating my own production company or anything like that. It's not really something that ever like appealed to me, but based on the nature of the conversations I've had with other filmmakers and stuff like that, it just seems like the inevitable thing.
Why so? Just because of what you're saying? This idea of like creating opportunity?
Yes, and I think also like, to be completely honest, I think it's easier to rent equipment when you have like, it's like a production company. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because they're like, seems legit.
I think that, and I think like you get like cheaper insurance. I think like you might be able to get like, you know, more affordable rentals, like stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think also people are aware, and I think it's smart. Like I don't have a huge problem with like, I'm not like looking for the spotlight or anything, but I also don't have a problem with it. Like I think it's cool that CBW Media, they're CBW Media. There isn't like a face to them, so to speak. They'll like be in front of the camera, but there's no like one person like that's their brand. Mm-hmm. I'm someone who it's like I'll take all of it for everyone, so then we can get this like vision out there, sort of thing. But I do see like the benefit of just being like, this is the production company doing it, and not like Noah doing it, even though like it would technically be me. You know what I mean? So I think that's the other perspective that I think some of these like filmmakers are having, is they're like, it's easier to say like we're a group of creatives. I think it's easier to like sell that in both to consumers and to like brands and stuff like that, and to like people who like supply grants and stuff like that. I think adding another layer of professionalism over your work will always benefit you in the long run, I think.
Yeah, because it's the presentation too.
Yeah.
And an audience doesn't know the difference. Like a consumer doesn't know the difference. They just see the name, like production company, and they're like, oh, there's a production company behind this.
Exactly.
So it means something different, just fundamentally that way.
100%.
Yeah. It's like if it said sponsored by, they don't know that you're your own sponsor or whatever.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, we technically said that the event was sponsored by the Jack Club Coffee and Tea House, which is a coffee shop in Bridgeport that is also my parents' coffee shop.
There you go.
And like they did help a little bit, you know, so it wasn't like invalid, but I just also wanted to feel like more like communal, obviously. But yeah, there's like little stuff like that you do that isn't like nefarious or anything. It's just like it's the name of the game.
Yeah.
You know, people, especially people who like aren't actively doing it, once they learn the secrets behind stuff, they get kind of turned off by it. Mm-hmm. By like, just by like what I was saying, like the name of the game, by like understanding what happens behind closed doors. And I don't mean to say that to sound like anything crazy is going on. I just more so mean like that event felt legit and it looked legit. It's because I convinced you that it was legit, you know, and then it became legit.
And and then like it gets the imposter syndrome thing, right? Because when you're putting it together, you're like, it doesn't feel like a real thing, and then, and all of a sudden it kind of just is. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, I guess I do have the power to do that. It's just weird now too, because I mean, I think that there was a past when things were more curated and things. It was kind of like more of there were gatekeepers in a sense of, you had to get somebody to fund your project, or you had to get somebody to help promote you. And once the internet comes along, everything changes, because now everybody is kind of their own PR, essentially.
Which I hate.
Don't we all?
I can't stand it. I hate making content.
But in a sense, it's empowering. So it's like a two-sided sword where, you know, it's the worst thing in the world, because you feel like you constantly have to do this thing, and it's not at all connected to your art in a sense. You have to find a way to translate what you're doing into this other medium. You have to find a way to get people to actually pay attention to something more than 5 seconds. You have to do all these things that you would never want to do. You didn't sign up for that. But on the other side of it, you have this amazing opportunity of getting people to find you that would never, ever find you. And so it's a constant battle for every artist ever, I feel like now, because we're all stuck in this same rat race. It's not going to change.
Yeah, you know, and I think my biggest advice, because I had a lot of people coming up to me after the event asking or saying like we tried to do something similar and we only got like 50 people there, stuff like that, and I were just feeling so like, I just felt bad because I didn't have any like good answers to anyone on how I did it. I think more so the way that it happened was some of the TikToks that I made for it popped off a little bit, which is just like, you know, kind of luck. But I think also recognizing that you need to figure out what sort of value you're providing to your audience, or to your potential audience. And that's such a hard thing to both swallow and learn, because you're like, oh, but I make cool stuff. Isn't it enough? And it's like, no, you know, like people need to either connect with it, or they need to feel like that they are engaging in something that will benefit them.
How do you think you managed to do that before the event? Like, how did you do that?
Man, I stepped out of my comfort zone completely. So like, I never really talked to the camera like that and just be like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I think a big part of it was I stayed pretty real. Like, I didn't write any scripts for any of the videos. I had like a rough idea of like, this is what I say each time. Some of them were just me just like walking through my neighborhood. And I think there was like a level of underdog, that like was baked into it that I think maybe people saw. Man, I don't know. I feel bad because I think I really need to figure that out and like really like
dissect yourself.
Yeah. Or just dissect the videos that did well and that people resonated with. But a lot of people just thought it was cool. You know, I think tying a charity into it was like the cherry on top, because when I spoke with, I forgot to mention this, Creator Camp, the same team who did that film festival back in Austin, they actually flew me out to the premiere of their feature film in New York, made by Bear and Ryan.
Nice.
That was really cool. Basically, they flew me out because I was one of their challenge winners online. They were like, someone just make something for the film kind of, and I made these like 3D renders of like these skeletons in different positions of like love, basically. I actually really, really love that piece. And I met a lot of like very successful like 23-year-old creators who like are living in the middle of Manhattan and like have no idea how lucky they are, to be honest. You know what I mean? But every time I'd kind of like, you know, like they'd like ask me like what like my deal was, like what I got going on, and I'd explain the festival to them, and they would always kind of like admire how smart everything was. And I was like, that's very interesting that's what everyone agrees on. And I think it's because I was just like, I just want people to see my work. So I was like, how do I do that? Well, I get other filmmakers involved, and we do this for charity, and we make it a communal thing. So it's like, I think people, even who like don't care too much about seeing films, they feel like they're a part of something.
Right.
And I think without even realizing, that's what the cusp of the event was like, you don't need to like films. You just, if you want to feel like you're a part of something going on that is unique enough, like here it is. and I guess enough people just gravitated towards that, and so I think that's what the value was like community.
Yeah.
And it taught me something, because I was like, who's going to care about this? Like, no one's going to care. 50 people are going to show up, and that's fine. I should still be grateful. It's more people that were there to see my, first film, That was like a very private, like 15 people thing. But to my surprise, I was like, oh, like, people are, and I think it's speaking back to what we were saying about people are still loving the internet and what it can do, but I think we're all recognizing like we're doom scrolling too much, like we're disconnecting from people too much, and I think I was like, you know what, I'll be the person then to do it. Like, I'll be the person to create this physical space for people, and let's see if it works. And it did. Yeah. And I think that's what's cool. It's like, I don't mean to say this to stroke my own ego, but I think it is important to recognize when you're doing something cool. Like, I don't really know anyone else who did this and who was doing it. And I think that was also like a novel, it's almost felt like lightning in a bottle just a little bit. But I don't think I don't mean to say that to be like, oh, it's never going to happen again. I think it's a sign that like people are looking for this. You just have to create the space for it.
Yeah, and I think the more people do it, the more people, it's like what you said, like you kind of hope that people will just pick up the ball and roll.
Yes.
Because everybody can see that,
Yes.
And you're kind of just putting a feeler out there for everybody else in a sense. Like, oh, this is something we can do.
Yeah.
We can just make like a mini one-day film festival type of event where a bunch of people are going to come out. Yeah, and why not? And it makes everybody better. It makes the audience better. It makes the filmmakers better. Everybody feels like their thing is bigger than themselves, and that's what it should be, And
Dude.
And it gets people returning back to earth. Yeah, and we all kind of get grounded again. And
100%.
Wow.
Because also then like when you're in that room, what I thought was really cool too, and I wanted this for like everyone who like acted in Loose Ends. We were taking photos, so we had like a red carpet with like a step and repeat, and I had a photographer taking photos of everyone coming in.
Nice.
They had like programs and stuff. Yeah, it was awesome.
You treated it like a real red carpet.
We really did, yeah, because we wanted people to walk in, and as soon as they walked in, to be like, oh, this is legit, not just be like, it's like rinky dinky, like it's like, oh, like a lot of thought and effort was put into this, because like it was. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I have to actually feel bad. I just remembered someone messaged the Loose Ends Instagram. They're like, hey, like, when are we gonna get those photos? And I didn't even respond because I was dying in my bed. But I will be sending all those photos to everyone very soon, because they're just so cute. It's just so fun seeing everyone just so excited.
Everybody's a star.
They are, yeah. But specifically, I remember we didn't have time to get the cast photo, like the Loose Ends photo of everyone in front of that step and repeat, until like 6:45 or something, and people are funneling in. Like it's not easy, but I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it. So we're all just like in line, like to go take this photo, and some of the actors told me they were like, we heard people in line being like, those are the actors. And I was like, that's so cool. And I'm like, yeah, like that's awesome, because like I wanted my friends to feel like celebrities for a night, because they deserved it. Like they worked so hard and they helped me so much. I was like, this night is for you guys too. Like that was another big motivation, by the way, for why I did this festival, was like every day we wrapped up filming Loose Ends. There was about like 7 days in total that we shot everything. I just like every time we were done, I was like, I don't know how to repay these guys. Like I'm so grateful that they're helping me do this. So the festival was also like, I want you guys to feel celebrated as well.
Yeah.
And exactly what you're saying brought back to earth. I feel like it's so easy for people to be like, oh, I'm not good enough because I'm not being celebrated, or because I'm not doing this, or like creativity in general is so far away from me because you need millions of dollars to do it. Like it felt good for people to like really see like, oh, like, yeah, you don't have to be like famous to make an impact at all. Like I am not a famous person, like
You're not?
No, yeah, right. I have a platform now, and I think that's really cool. And like I'm well aware of the opportunities that I've gotten, of course, but I do not think I am working at much more of a head start than anyone else. And that was the point of the event too, was to show like, oh man, people do not know like the shit that I ate to make this thing happen,
Yeah.
Like those little programs that I was telling you about that we handed out. I messed up printing those up 3 times, and every time I printed them out, I printed out 500 of them.
Oh my god!
So I would go to FedEx. Yeah, so I'd go to FedEx. I'd pick them up, and I'd be like, "Oh, shit's misaligned." Reprinted them out. I picked them up again. Oh, names are spelled wrong. Oh my god! So like little stuff like that. You're just like, man, like I am so above like my pay grade here. Why am I doing this? But it's all just so worth it, you know. And yeah, just to like kind of like speak on again to like what you're saying there. It's like I really hope people saw it and they're like, whoa, like this is way more impactful than like
than you could have imagined.
Than even just like watching the Oscars on TV.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool. Like they won their cool award. That's awesome. But like to be in a room where a bunch of like-minded people are truly celebrating and enjoying work made by their contemporaries, like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Man, I think it'd be
I would argue it's way more real. Yeah,
I think so too, and I
Yeah.
think it'd be so cool if like, and I know movie theaters can't afford it, but I don't know, like, I think it'd be awesome if like there's like one single day every month at like an AMC where they only played indie films,
wow. Yeah,
or like not only, but it's like one theater, you know, one
one screen, yeah.
was designated to that, where it's like here's the lineup, and you're gonna watch like a film made by this person in Chicago, and it's basically set up the same way.
I don't know if it's like that around here, but I remember where I was from, you could rent out a screen
Yes.
for a certain amount of time. So I bet like it's the same type of thing as like what you're doing, where maybe you just take it to a theater and you say, hey, we're renting out a theater for a day. Let's get everybody in here. We're going to show 6 films.
I would love to do that. Yeah,
on a literal big screen.
Yeah. Jerry did that for his premiere of Hamster in My Head.
Oh, there you go.
So he actually he invited me out to go see that like 2 weeks or so before we showed it.
And even for the
festival.
filmmaker, that must be awesome.
Oh my goodness, it was so cool.
Yeah.
He did it cool too because he played like trailers before it as well, like like other indie filmmakers trailers.
That's cool.
Yeah, we didn't get to do that because we didn't get like enough sent into us on time, but
That was you were planning on it?
It's like only after I saw Jerry do it. So I was like, oh, that could be cool. But looking back, like it wasn't necessary, you know,
Yeah.
like there was no reason to like eat up time like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it. I think it's a really cool idea. I would love to venture out and like see what theaters are open to. The problem is that usually they're like, yep, cool idea. Here's how much it is. And then like that's the end of the conversation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm like, that's why this press kit is so important to me, is because I'm hopeful that we can almost sell in the idea to these places and be like, look at what we could do with a $500 short film.
Yeah.
Like we raised 10 times the film's budget, got hundreds of, I mean, I think people forget, like a film theater only fits like 130 people. Mm-hmm. It's really not that many people.
Yeah.
So like that's crazy to think about too, that like technically, I mean, obviously like millions of people are watching it, like, you know, nationwide when a movie comes out, like on a theatrical release, maybe more like thousands. But like that's crazy thing about that. We had 2 movie theaters worth of an audience watching these films at once.
Yeah.
You know, like I think movie theaters forget that like they really could make some money just by supporting local art.
Yeah. And it looks good for them, like the actual theater. It makes them look community oriented.
100%.
People. I think it like it makes them have more of a stake in the community.
100%. Because I think also like theaters. I don't, you know, I'm not like, I've never worked for a theater. I don't have their perspective. But from the outside looking in, it seems like maybe they've forgotten that too, that like the community is what funds your movie theater.
Yeah.
You know, like you can have all the big blockbuster hits, but like if it's going to be on HBO Max or Netflix in 2 weeks, people aren't, and that's not the theater's fault. You know, like
right.
I don't blame them at all. Like I love going to the movie theater. But I agree. I think if they really try to set in a stone where they're located and how they could work with like local artists, I really, really do think like they could revolutionize even what a movie theater is.
Yeah.
You know, because I think right now it feels like the movie theater's role is only to be the connection between a moviegoer and the movie. Mm-hmm. When it's like, what if instead you kind of turned it into like cultivating experiences for people, unique experiences.
I think Music Box kind of does that.
They do. Yeah.
But that's like one example.
Right.
It's not like there's a ton of them.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
But they make it feel special. Like they'll do special showings. And
Yeah.
they'll do little events for people who like going to movies.
And it's why they're like revered, you know, like people,
because they've always been doing it.
right.
Yeah.
And I mean, people know like Music Box like is like the, you know, movie theater in the city.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And so it's also why they are our next goal. Where like I would really, really love to,
because it fits right
show
in.
something there.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. You gotta get people to like movies again. I think it's the only way. You gotta get people to genuinely enjoy the experience of going to a movie. Like rather than like you said, rather than just being let's watch a movie and get the hell out of here. It should be let's enjoy being at this place. Like, you know, this should feel like something. And also like I feel like it's lost on people. I've heard so many people say, oh, why would I watch it at a theater when I can watch it at home? It's like, are you crazy? Because there's something magical and special about experiencing a film with people, with an audience. It feels different, just fundamentally. When everybody laughs at the same time, that feels good, rather than just sitting in the silence of your apartment.
And then you kind of just give like a little,
Yeah, exactly.
At like certain moments, because you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. But when you're in a room full of other people, like it just adds so much.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I think like I could liken it to like if I watch a comedy special by myself, I'm way less likely to laugh than if I'm in a room watching the comedian tell the jokes. Don't even know, I can't even put my finger on it. I think it's just that there's something in the air that makes me want to enjoy it a lot more than if I'm just sitting here by myself.
Yeah.
I find it to be actually funnier.
No, I completely agree. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that is.
I think it's just we're humans.
It's just magic, yeah. Because, I 100%. I think also, like, you're able to almost appreciate the art a lot more when you're seeing it happen live in front of you like that, especially with stand-up, you know, because like I love stand-up. I used to do it quite a bit when I was younger, and like I will always have like an appreciation for it. I think it's one of the most difficult things to do.
Oh yeah.
At least like successfully, you know. Obviously people can get up on stage and say stupid stuff, but like to truly be able to craft like well-written jokes is so difficult. People do not realize how hard it is and how scripted everything is.
Exactly.
You know,
the craft of stand-up.
especially with the like John Mulaney's of the world who like just have been doing it for so long. That I think that does happen too. Like you see it in person and there's a part of you that's like thrown back. You're like, whoa, yeah, this is real. Like this person's right there, like really making me think and laugh. Like I can't help but like give back to the energy that is in the room. And then same with film and same with music, you know, like
music too, especially. I don't like country music, but I'd love it at a festival.
Oh my goodness,
yeah.
Or like I'm a huge Turnstile fan, and you know, I'll like headbang to them when I'm like listening to them or like if they're on. But when I'm at a Turnstile show, I am totally fine with strangers fucking jumping on me and sweating on me and elbowing me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I think there's something primal about it too that I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Where art is so interesting because like art to me is what separates us from animals.
Yeah.
But it also like to enjoy it, like we need to be able to like tap into something that is almost non-human. And so I think that's like the beauty of it is it's this very finely weaved game of just trying to tap into something that people don't usually tap into because they're like regressing it a little bit or repressing it a little bit.
Yeah.
But then also tapping into that intellectual part of people's brains and emotional of like making them think and draw back on past experiences and forcing them to ask questions that they normally wouldn't ask themselves.
Yeah. Joseph Campbell, I have this Power of Joseph Campbell book here. He's fucking awesome. And he wrote, his whole thing was about mythology, and he wrote so much about mythology. And there's something in that book that really struck me. And he was like he was saying a metaphor is almost like godlike in a sense that you are kind of teaching someone to think of something as beyond what it actually is.
Right.
And I think art is doing that.
Yeah.
I think it's like it kind of taps you back into that idea of like things are not quite what they seem, and things are kind of just, they're a physical representation of something that is far more mystical and hard to understand. And I think we all have that within us. That's what this power of stories and myth is. It's like this yearning for something greater than yourself. And I think everybody feels that when that's in the air, when you're at a live event and everybody's feeling that, it's like you're almost floating.
Yeah.
You're like transcending above reality in this really weird way that's hard to explain.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I agree. And I think that's the coolest thing about like painting, to be honest, is like, filmmaking's cool. Where like, you get a video or like a photo of someone and you don't really have to convince anyone like this is a video or like a photo of someone. It's like, it obviously is. But like with painting, what's so incredible to me about that, it's like at the end of the day, when you're looking at a painting, they're all just paint strokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but the artist intended for those paint strokes to create an image, and they are convincing you that you are looking at an image.
Yeah, yeah.
When it's like, that to me is incredible. Like the Mona Lisa, like it's just a bunch of paint on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? That's all that it is, technically.
Yeah.
Technically, that's what it is. But spiritually and emotionally and culturally, we agree that it is a woman.
Yeah.
And that to me, because like, it looks like a woman. I'm not saying like it's like
it's what it represents.
A yellow dot. Yeah. Or like even then, like if you were to paint a yellow circle on a piece of paper, you can now tell someone it's the sun. And then they're like, okay, yeah, it's the sun. But you can't like film like a door and be like, well, in less context, unless you like filmed a door and you're like, this is hell because like it leads to hell or something like that, whatever. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, it's like Hitchcock, right? You cut from that door to hell and now it's a door to hell.
Exactly.
Simple as that. It's the connection that's made.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's why I call myself Ruse, truly, because I think that everything is a ruse in a sense, and that we would be wiser to understand that. Like it would be smarter to realize that you present yourself in this way, but you're not what you're not what you think you are. You're just defining yourself as something, just like you define everything. That's how you survive. It's how we all exist.
Yeah.
And it's that open-mindedness leads to so much. You're able to expand so much further if you can understand that things are just not as simple as they seem, and that sounds wishy-washy, but I think art helps you to see it. Like art more than anything, painting more than anything, right? Because like you said, it's all just paint. It is a door. When you point the camera at the door, it is a door, but maybe it means more than that. It's like a Rorschach. I always pronounce it wrong. Rorschach?
I'm not even going to try.
Who knows? But it's, you look at that shape and what does it mean to you? And the fact that you might say a butterfly and I might say blood splat means a lot.
Yeah.
It means way more than you'd think it means.
Oh, yeah.
But, it is, in the end, just a bunch of black paint on a white piece of paper. And so
interpretation is everything.
It's everything, yeah. And it's what makes for great art, yeah. Well, I think we've had a beautiful conversation here today.
So too.
And at the end of the show, we always do two things, all right? One, this show's obviously for 3 to 5 year olds. So this is a message for the children, all right? The kids are on the school bus and they're listening. They're about to get off the school bus and they're going to use your knowledge, your wisdom, your little nuggets you're going to give them. I don't know what it is. You got it in you, so you're going to say it. Second, the social medias where people can find you.
For sure.
The place they can see your face, where they can get some more of you. Any upcoming stuff you got soon, maybe where they could possibly find your film if they're yearning to see it so badly after this conversation. You got to tell them. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. So for the 3 to 5 year olds out there, what I'll say is that, no, but truly, I think if there's something that you really loved doing when you were younger, don't let anyone convince you that you can't do it. There will always be a space for that inner child of yours to come out and let it play. Let your inner child come out and play. And what I'll say about finding me, you can find me everywhere on socials at Noah G Films. Pretty simple. Loose ends, we're going to try to get it through some festival circuits, see what its life looks like on there. But I'm really excited to post it on YouTube, to be honest.
I think that's the move. agree.
I think so too. We kind of made it with that intention too. Like, it's definitely a short film, but it's a short film for YouTube. I would like to post it around my birthday, which is like the end of March. So that's the goal.
Oh, you're making them wait.
A little bit. I know. I feel bad. I don't want anyone to wait that long. But I will be posting like some more teasers for it. Like I mentioned, I want to post that little documentary about it. So yeah, Noah G Films is where you can find me. And then if you want to follow the Instagram for the movie itself, it's loose_ends_movie. There you go. Thank you so much, Ruse.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And that's great advice, by the way. Always play, not just you kids, all right?
Yeah.
You get older, you forget how to play.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Don't do that, because if you play, you'll be surprised how many other adults are willing to play with you. And actually, I think that's the key to getting people to open up and be themselves and have fun with you. They understand that it's safe. If you're willing to play,
Yes.
people are willing to play. You'd be amazed. But people just forget. They think they're adults and they have to act normal. And that's not how the world works, guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you from experience. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. With all that being said, Radio. Clocking out.
Double down, competition couldn't help him to rock. Missed the whole time, holy fell through the flock. That's an ordinary miracle, wealth to the block. It's a balance in the character that's calm and collect. It's apparent his caricature is lost in the